Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming from both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various internet marketing techniques and methods to help them attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients. The purpose of this show is we break it up into 3 sections. The first 2 sections, I bring on subject matter experts from around the world who have already achieved levels of success, and they come on the show and they tell us about who they are and what they've done and how they've achieved this level of success. The reason I do this is so you can learn from people who have already achieved success and maybe cut a couple of years off the process. So in listening to these people, listen to how they did it, what they did, where they went, what they read, who they spoke to, and maybe that will enable you to achieve even greater success, but just cut the whole learning curve by 3 to 5 years. Our second guest today is Tina Allton, and Tina and her husband are a very powerful British couple. She's calling in from London today, and whose journey so far has been an amazing success story. And on a personal note, they also have a family of 4 children. Together, they have done tremendous stuff together. I'm just going to tell you about Tina's, and then maybe we can go into that because Tina will be here. Tina runs her own business in addition to what she does with her husband, and it's called Shift Challenge, where they challenge the status quo for people in business and in life to create a shift through mentoring. And unlike other mentoring programs, Tina walks the talk, having established 6 successful businesses over a 16-year period. She has developed a 4-step proven methodology that works in the real world. Shift Challenge helps people to see the greatness in them. Also, Tina is the London chapter director of EBW2020.com, and that's Empower a Billion Women by 2020. And on a personal note, my friend Sharon Lecter, I believe, founded that, and we're going to talk about that because Sharon Lecter is such a great person, too. Tina, you on the line?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing today? You're calling in from London, right?
Yes, I'm wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Excellent. Now, I have to say this, and it might be annoying because you probably hear it all the time, but are you across the pond, mate?
Yes, I am across the pond. I only arrived across the pond this morning. I'd been traveling the States, so I arrived back home this morning.
You just did Habitude Warrior Conference?
Yes, with the awesome Eric Swanson.
Yep, I did the one right before that in Dallas. They had so many people. Eric's events, Eric Swanson, Habitude Warrior Conference. He has his events are so well attended. He literally had to break up that event that was originally scheduled when I went April 2021-22. He had to split it into 2 because he had so many people. So that's a great event. And this was the first one that I didn't attend. I've spoken at 3, and I'll be speaking at the next one, too. I just had so many trips going. But tell us a little bit about that, and tell us about yourself, your career, how you got to where you're going. I know you. I know the people you associate with. I know you're a rock star. That's why I asked you to come on this show, and I'm blessed to have you on here because the listeners are going to get to listen to somebody who's really done well and has, like you said, walked the talk.
Yes, thank you so much again, Ron, for having me. It's wonderful to be able to kind of share. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the Habitude Warrior Conference, it was amazing. The quality of the speakers, the value and the content that they provided and shared was absolutely amazing and brilliant. Basically, you go to some conferences and it's just about almost like a pitch marathon, but this was nothing like that. I think we had about 33 speakers of us in total, and it was just pure, real, true people who have worked, their way up to where they are now. So it was amazing to kind of be in that sort of environment with all these wonderful high achievers, and it was wonderful. Eric definitely lives up to his name, which is Mr. Awesome, and I'm glad I was able to support, his events and share some great content with the participants.
Excellent. He is a great guy. And just so the listeners, she didn't say 3. When I heard you say that, it sounded like 3. There was 33 speakers over 3 days.
33,
yeah.
Yes, over 3 days, yes. It's my British accent.
That's excellent, though. And, yeah, I'm amazed you're calling in from across the pond. We've had people from Germany, from England, from Australia, from Canada, and half a dozen other countries. So it just shows you how small the world is. And so excellent. So go on. Tell us more about you, the things that you're doing, if you want to share about what your husband's doing as well. And also, that 2020, that's with empowering 1 billion women by 2020. That's with Sharon Lechter, right?
That actually was founded, the CEO and the president is Ingrid Vanderveld.
Okay.
Ingrid Vanderveld is the founder, and yes, Sharon was part of the initial mentors who'd been working with some of the ladies, but it was founded by Ingrid Vanderveld, a wonderful lady.
Excellent. What a great group of people, too. I mean, for the listeners, if you've ever heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Sharon Lechter was part of the one of the persons. She actually, probably wrote it. I don't want to say she did, but then Robert Kiyosaki and them allegedly co-wrote it. But she's also went on, and this ties into you. She went on to write 21 books, but her slant is that are all New York Times bestsellers. But her slant is to really help women because in business, all entrepreneurs struggle, but I think, from what Sharon says and maybe what you can share, it's a little different and a little more difficult for women. So that 2020, I think, is a great organization for what you're doing because, the entrepreneurs starting out, they all need just a little bit of encouragement and stuff. So go on. I'm just glad you're a part of that. So now you go and talk. I've talked enough.
Thank you. My actual background is I'm an educational psychologist by profession, and I'd been teaching at senior management level, and kind of left that in 2005. When my husband asked me to join the practice. He's a qualified podiatrist, so we have our private podiatric clinics here. So I kind of joined the practice, managing it and running and overseeing the various business bits that comes in. And I actually was introduced to IV and EBW, as we call it, because I'm not sure, well, it's no secret really, less than 2% of women in business actually make it and cross over the 1 million mark, which is kind of like, serious, because women, we kind of like put everything into running our business, because oftentimes we're not just running the business, running the home and a few other things as well. So it was kind of like pretty, not fun statistic that less than 2% of women actually make it, past the 1 million mark. So the EBW is a community, it's a global community of business women, and basically looking to not just empower, but helping to be, each other's accelerator on our journeys to kind of make a big difference, not just in our business or personal life, but also our commission, our community as a whole. So the purpose of that is to kind of like empower, build a global sustainable future through elevation women, and to kind of like, break down some of the myths and the craziness about the difficulty that women have basically accessing resources for growth. And I think that, for any business to really truly achieve any level of growth, oftentimes you need money to do that, whether it's new equipment, new staff, new technology. We always need that. And I think as women, including myself, sometimes we've been reluctant to kind of like go for the funding that we need. So we provide a whole rounded system that allows women to be able to like build their confidence, their leadership skills, understand their financial literacy. And also in February, we actually launched what we call the $1 billion investors funders platform. So by kind of bringing women in, teaching them leadership, financial literacy, and upping their confidence skills, means that we're better prepared, or they're better prepared, in a better position to be able to access the fundings that we do. And we do that, again, through the use of technology and community and financial education to kind of like, help the women all around and hopefully grow their business to enable them cross that 1 million mark. And we hope to empower 1 billion women by 2020, which is a very ambitious goal. But, what is a goal if it's not big? And if, we're going to think anyway. So it's about thinking big, dreaming big, and going big. So that's EBW in a nutshell.
Excellent, and I think it's a tremendous organization. I actually, here in Boston area, it's, 11:30, 11:40-ish. I have an appointment with a woman entrepreneur at 12:30, and I'm going to have her, I'm going to make sure that she goes back when we archive this episode on my website, rcstechnologysolutions.com, as well as the radio station's website, WCAP 980 AM, for everybody who listened to what Tina just said but was unable to write it down. You'll be able to go back and listen to it, take notes, and later she's going to give you her contact information and some tips, I hope. So you'll be able to listen to all this. So don't worry if it's going fast, or if you're thinking of things as she's talking, you'll be able to review it again. So I think it's tremendous. And so go on. Can you tell us more about yourself, what you're doing now, what you're going to do in the future?
So what I'm doing, gosh, I run the podiatric clinic with my husband, and through our own personal struggles with our daughter, who was 11 by then, back in 2011, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So, when somebody passes away, sometimes there's resources, books, and things that you can, share with a child about what is going on. But when that happened back in 2011, we realized there was nothing out there to be able to kind of like share with our daughter what was going on. It was a very traumatic period because she was okay, and then it was just, normal day, 4 p.m., rushed into intensive care, tubes everywhere, and it was pretty traumatic and scary for us as a family. So anyway, we realized that we were in a unique position, where at that point my husband Peter was actually a type 2 person living with type 2 diabetes, and also having a daughter who has type 1 diabetes, and that we felt called by God to kind of like make a difference. So we set up our non-for-profit called Undefeated, spelled with feet, 2 E's, which is all about educating and empowering people who have diabetes to avoid the complications that all too often lead to lower limb amputation. And the sad fact is the fact that currently every 20 seconds somebody has a lower limb amputation because of diabetes, and like 85% can be avoided. So we've put together, various packages, including mentoring, educating, raising awareness, and pulled together a whole bunch of teams that, we take into countries and are able to put together a strategy for the country, whether looking at the existing, structure as far as diabetes is concerned within their whole health system or health structure in the country, to be able to kind of like reduce, first of all, the onset of diabetes, and then of course the complications, and then consequently, the number of amputations. And then of course I also I'm the director for London for EBW, and so I speak, I mentor, I work with women, own businesses who want to grow business, and what I teach them, I do in my own personal business, how to grow and maintain a sustainable business that makes a difference in the community, makes a difference in the lives of your staff, but also gives you the life that you want. Because after all, that's why we go into business for ourselves, right? Is to have our own freedom and a certain lifestyle. So that's what I teach and help women to be able to do in their own businesses as well.
That's huge, because, too, a lot of times people, you're right, we go into business, myself included, I've been an entrepreneur for quite a while, and we go into business because we're looking for that time freedom. And a lot of times we can set our own times that we work, so that frees us up to do what we want during the week, while other people are doing their 9-to-5 thing and being stuck in traffic. And so that's a great thing. But oftentimes when you are an entrepreneur, and if you're the only one, I mean, thankfully I have 7 people that work with me on a full-time basis, and then we bring in others as needed. I have 19 people, a pool right now to pull from when needed. But like you said, people can become overwhelmed. They can have so much to do. So having someone like you, I think you have a 4-part method that can help people walk through the process of not being so overwhelmed, and because there's a big difference between being busy and being productive. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely. And what I find, I mean, we've been in business, Peter and I have been in business 17 years. We've built and, sold over 6, solid businesses over that period. And I see that we kind of like, as entrepreneurs, we're busy being busy, but not really. When you really go and dig deep, dig down, you uncover that, the business is not actually providing them with the what do you call it, the vision or the dream with which they had when they first started. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs who are busy being busy, but not actually growing and enjoying the benefits of their hard work.
Yep. And now you have a process. Can you tell us a little bit about those 4 steps? We have about 6 minutes left. Tell us what you want to tell us, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tips, and that could be to contact me, but 1 or 2 or 3 tips that people can use to become more productive, to be more effective, be more efficient, achieve more success, and then obviously how they can contact you and maybe take advantage of some courses and programs that you offer.
Yeah. So basically, the 4th step we look at, I believe that in life everything starts with making a decision. When you make a decision, that has to, be backed up by commitment to yourself, commitment to kind of like, go ahead with that decision that you made. And then the bit that actually shocks me is the number of times that people don't actually make it, take any action. So the 4th step is basically how to go about making decision. How do you know, how to choose? How is this decision the right decision at this moment, at this time? And how do I identify, so we look at parameters or demarcators for making decisions and then making commitments, and the whole process of making commitment, taking action, how to kind of like hold yourself accountable. And then, of course, it's about, the dreams and the goals, because you make decisions, you make commitments, take action, but, like where is the destination? Again, we kind of look at all that, and also really, truly, it's kind of underpinning the true worth as a person, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and by really understanding your actual true worth, that's when you're able to kind of like charge the right prices, build the right relationships with your team, your customers, and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes in. Of course, it's about, are you looking at what's the, I use the term brand, which is the business. Is this like a little business just tucked in the corner of your piece of the world, or is it going to be national? Is it going to be global? And all these things can be achieved, but oftentimes people think, oh no. I'm not a global business. I'm just a small business. And therefore, they kind of like miss out on the big opportunities out there. So we look at all of those things, and I do really enjoy what I do and the success that my clients, enjoy time in, time out, because I do these things in my own business, and I'm proud to say, we've built very successful. Sustainable businesses, and have very high profile, credibility, and understand our worth, and I'd love to be able to kind of like share and teach, not just women actually, but male entrepreneurs as well, how they would be able to really and truly achieve the very reason why they went into business for themselves.
Excellent, and that's so important. So if the listeners wanted to contact you, what would be the best way that they could reach out and talk to you?
I'm very, very active on social media, so if they want to connect with me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, just search Tina Allton with two L's, so Allton, Allton, or they can send an email, Tina at Tina Allton, so TINA at TINAALLTON for November.com.
And again, listeners, if you are unable to write that down for whatever reason, this episode, as all episodes, will be archived both on my website, rcstechnologysolutions.com. Just go to the tab that says Media, click on it, and then the second option down will be Radio Shows. In 2 or 3 days, this episode will be up. And also on the radio station itself, WCAP 980 AM. Which has, it really is all over Merrimack Valley, 1.5 million listeners, but it will also be on their website as well, up in the archive section. So, Tina, we're down to like a minute left. You want to give a closing out to the listeners?
Yes. Basically, I would say any business, you can literally explode your reach, your opportunities if you work within the trap. The trap, number one, is trust. Let people, your customers, your team, build, unquestionable trust with them. R is relationships. Who is holding you back? You need to cut those people off. And A is associations. You can brand through association. And P is partnerships or profile or products. You need to look for products that complement or complete the service that you offer and partner with them, and that would be a big opportunity where you literally are able to double, triple your revenues and your profits. So always work within the trap, that should be very easy for people to kind of like start implementing straight away.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tina. And listeners, you've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming from RCS Technology Solutions, as well as RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing methods and techniques to attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients. And again, that helps them achieve even greater success. Till next week, have a great week, everyone.